Epic did the thing Microsoft said they were going to do in July.
Well, to be fair to Microsoft, they suck. No, um, uh, Epic's, first said they were doing this in January, and then they talked about it in February, and then they talked about it in March, and then Apple took away their account again, and then put it back, and whatever.
But you know what?
But yeah,
None of that happened to Xbox, and
you know, I, I don't.
we should probably say what they did because,
Right, sorry. So
anyways, Epic launched their mobile store, their mobile alternative store, I guess, in Europe. Was it today? And
it's
Fortnite,
actually it's everywhere on Android.
oh, is it?
Like, yeah.
Well, Fortnite can now be played on or downloaded, I guess, directly on
hmm
iOS now.
Yeah. So in Europe, it's only. I'm sorry, for iOS and iPhone, whatever. It's only in EU because of the DMA. Although antitrust case right now happening. I mean, it's probably going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and everywhere in the world, if you have Android, you can do this now. So both these companies are doing their kind of malicious compliance thing where they're forcing these companies like Epic to go through multiple steps, et cetera, et cetera. But two kind of related things have happened in the past 24 hours that are crazy to me. So this morning, because I'm in the United States, I installed the Epic Game Store on Android. You have to jump through some hoops. You got to change some settings and, whatever. I mean, they try to make it as easy as they can. And there's a 16 gigabyte download once you get into the game. And I played. I've never played Fortnite. I mean, and when I say that, I don't mean literally. Like I've been in it a couple times here and there, but I've never played.
Yeah, like
I
competitively
played,
or whatever.
but paralleling something that happened yesterday, I played through an entire match. I ended up in like 32nd place, but I killed all 4 or 5 maybe of the people I ran into. Like I actually did really well, and the reason is I was using an Xbox controller, right? Not, because I'm like 50 something years old. I can't do that. Plus the screen's like this big. You know what I mean? So like I'm playing it like, in front of it, whatever. But I plugged it into the phone and I was like, maybe this works. Maybe, it just worked. It was fine, no problem. And yeah, so that was great. But coincidentally, I've been mentioning to you here and there this notion because you got the iPad, you should look at some of the games,
Yeah.
And I don't know, like a week or so ago. Yeah, it was over a week ago because I brought this stuff with me to DC and then never even looked at it. But I installed a bunch of games, right? So I installed like Alien Isolation, which is a fairly modern 3D whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I did play some of that, a week or two ago, whatever it was. But I also installed, Call of Duty Mobile, Call of Duty Warzone. I don't remember the other one. So a couple of other things. So I played more Call of Duty yesterday than I have played in a year and a half or more. I won every single match. And this was just Call of Duty Mobile. And here's what's changed. So I've obviously looked at Call of Duty Mobile over the years. Not that there's been too many of those years, but as it's come and whatever. In the beginning, it was kind of a fun mobile take on the classic Call of Duty maps, but it was simplified because it's mobile, right? So if you face an enemy, your gun will just start firing like it was automatic.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things I saw, like, first of all, I can't, like I said, I can't play on the screen, but they controller support, maybe it was there from day one. I don't even know, but controller support's there. But now they've added like an advanced mode and it's just normal Call of Duty. So I connected the controller, it just worked. And it works normally. Like you don't just auto fire and do stupid things like that. You just you fire your gun as you want and like normal, like Call of Duty. And I was kicking ass yesterday, man. Like it was awesome. And on the iPad, like this game looks awesome. And you have like the opportunity to, I think it was this game because I did play 3 or 4 games, but I think it's this one where you can choose like high quality down, graphics or not. Like you have to download them, and I did, and it, I was blown away by the quality of this. I also played Warzone, which was weird because I expected Warzone to be like Fortnite,
Mm-hmm.
this kind of battle royale thing. But because I had never played it, I had to go through it was a training mission. They have to do with touch actually, but then you go to the controller. And then I played like 2 matches and they were just normal deathmatch matches, but in classic Call of Duty maps. So I can't explain that. I don't, but that's what I did. I know. And it was excellent, And I'll look at that later. I want to actually see Warzone, but I can't remember the name. I should have brought the iPad in here. There were a couple other games that were just well. I downloaded the latest Diablo, which I had played before a little bit, and it's actually kind of a fun little game. But the other one was one of the other ones was like a new like third person shooter type game. I'm forgetting the name. I'm sorry, but yeah, like I feel like there's mobile gaming like Bejeweled and what that stupid stuff people do when they're standing in line. But now there's this. It's almost like it's the new console.
I'm going to title this Paul Discovers Mobile Gaming.
Well, to be fair to Paul, I mean, things have changed, right? Like I said, like Call of Duty, I always thought was fascinating on mobile, but it was really limited. Like it was,
I mean,
in the beginning, it was
just as powerful as a console from
yeah.
last
I mean,
generation
if anything,
for sure.
and
Maybe
honestly,
even this generation.
yeah, the resolution of these screens is higher than most
Yeah.
people's PC screens. I mean, and of course, the screens are smaller, so it has the effect of being even better, right? Higher resolution at smaller size, right?
So let,
But
let me play this scenario out for you.
mhm.
What if they just took all this experience, put it into a cheap little thing, called it an Xbox, sold it for $150, put an ARM chip in there with an MPU and the super upscaling resolution, and just called it a day?
Yeah. So I have a question today and ask Paul that is like kind of about like we're not really hearing a lot from Xbox on the software side.
Mm.
And to be fair to them, I mean, there's system, like monthly
Right, the monthly dashboard stuff.
dashboard updates. But yeah, my theory is related to what you just said that I think there is an ARM something something coming, and you and I have talked about this notion. Maybe they should do a Switch type thing where you can take it and go, and or whatever it is. But yeah, you just touched on. I think the reason this stuff is so quiet, we've got like a PS5 Pro coming, but more of the same from Xbox from a console perspective. I think we're on the verge of I don't want to call it a breakthrough, but like a platform shift. And I said to you, I sort of theorized this without even having experienced it, but I sort of said, remember they opened up Xbox, like Call of Duty Xbox and other games probably, but you would play against Xbox,
Yeah,
and then you could play against PlayStation, right? They do cross system, whatever. And then 3-4 years ago, whatever, they added PC as well, right? And I said it's only a matter of time before people with a controller on a iPad or a phone will be able to play against PC console.
There's nothing that stops them now.
I'm looking at it. I'm telling you, well, they would have to. Call of Duty on mobile is a very different thing.
No, I know. But I mean, if they wanted to go
but technically
and do that, they could. I don't disagree.
We're going to get into a weird situation when this happens, because when I played that game yesterday, I was like, oh my God, like this is it. Like they cracked this, right?
They're fine. That's why I contend that the next gen Xbox doesn't need to be some super high end, ultra powerful. Like we have mid grade hardware these days that can run high resolution displays at high frame rates.
Well, and you said the key there was auto SR.
Yeah. Put a 10. You could put a 1080p 60 frames per second box under the TV that plays all the Xbox games that I can play today.
Yep.
$150.
This is why like people are like, oh, I don't need an MPU for anything. It's like, actually, that's one of the things that's really good for. And by the way, I haven't looked into this too deeply, and I don't care about this per se, but with the new Pixels, one of the things they can do, even though the hardware is basically identical year over year in the cameras, it can do 8K video.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's an asterisk there, because I don't think it's actually recording 8K. I think it's 4K, and they're using AI to upscale it. I think that's what they mean by 8K. I don't think it's like real optical 8K, or if that's
because
the right
you have to, like, when you look at the gaming market, you have to look at it historically. It was like there's three games. There's a PC game, there's a console game, there's a mobile game. That is those lines are now extremely blurry.
Oh my God, it's over. That's sort of what I mean. Like I look, for gaming on mobile is the biggest gaming market in the world, but that market is really whatever the modern versions of things like Angry Birds, or those running, remember those run games were big, Montezuma or something. Flappy Bird, like that kind of stuff. And it's just like mindless. You have 2 minutes to kill, and you're like, I'll move some jewels around on the screen. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But Yeah, we've watched as these things have gotten more powerful and have surpassed
Yeah.
PCs in some ways. And this is fascinating to me.
I bet we see the first convergence.
Mhm.
Go with that. Mom just texted she's on her way over, so I got to wrap this up. I bet the first convergence is quite literally PC and console, right? Become just one game. It's just literally just one game, right? It doesn't matter if you play it on PC or console. It's one thing, and then the next leg of that will finally be mobile.
And by the way, as crappy as this year has been for Xbox, right? For fans, I mean, especially, this is an area where Microsoft could make a difference because they have the PC and console. And they could that and again, like, why is it so quiet on the software side? It may be because of the,
Looking in the wrong
I'm sure
place.
we're exceeding the bounds of what that will actually happen, but this is absolutely possible right now. That is fascinating.